Good day, everyone. I am Greta Jane Bulan-Simato, representing number 45. The topic that I will discuss for today is all about adult learners. What is adult learning? An adult learner, also known as a mature student, is an older person who is involved in forms of learning. Adult learners are defined by their level of experience and do not always hold a high school diploma. Adults are characterized by maturity, self-assurance, autonomy, and sound decision-making. They are also more practical, multitasking, purposeful, self-directed, experienced, and less open-minded and receptive to change. Learners are typically over the age of 25 and have characteristics that distinguish them from the traditional learner population. Adult learning theory, also known as andragogy, is a long-standing concept. It highlights the distinct ways adults respond to learning and is essential for any training provider to understand. What is andragogy? Andragogy means the understanding of the science and practice of adult learning. This contrasts the pedagogy, which is the understanding of the science and practice of the children learning. Andra means adults, peda means child. In Greek, andragogy means man leading, while pedagogy means child leading. This is what Blake Seifert writes of andragogy. Learning is typically very self-directed. Example, man leading is a hands-on and does not rely heavily on an instructor or teacher. Often, the learners lack the foundation upon which to build and will need to learn other dependent skills and assess knowledge gaps. The term andragogy was coined in 1833 by a German teacher named Alexander Knapp in an attempt to categorize and describe Plato's theory of education. However, the term is most closely associated with Malcolm Knowles, an educator who had a significant impact on the field of adult education. Knowles was convinced that adult education had to be self-directed. Rather than being teacher-centered, adult learning should be centered on the student and teach them the power of self-motivated learning. Adult learning theory, developed by Malcolm Knowles in 1968, is a concept or study of how adults learn and how it differs from children. It aims to demonstrate how adult learning differs and to identify the learning styles that are most appropriate for them. These are the 5 key assumptions of Knowles' adult learning theory. Each one describes how adults perceive learning in general and how they prefer to train. Number 1, self-concept. As we get older, we change from being dependent to being more self-sufficient. As a result, our learning preference shift from instructor led to a more self-directed approach. In other words, maturity leads to growing independence and autonomy, whereas children are fully dependent on others for learning and understanding. Adults learn and understand independently. Number 2, adult learner experience. Adults have a lot of experience from which to draw information and references. We can take these experiences and apply what we've learned. In other words, as children mature into adults and gain more experience, certain things become intuitive. Their experience allows them to intuit things that they never would have understood previously. Number 3, readiness to learn. Adults want or are ready to learn where there is a reason, such as when it is related to their work's growth and development. As an adult moves into various social roles, employee, parents, spouse, citizens, etc., their readiness to learn becomes oriented toward those roles. Number 4, orientation of learning. Adults want what they learn to be relevant to their daily lives, not just general knowledge about a subject. They want to learn practical skills that will help them solve problems and work more effectively. As a person matures, their application of learning becomes immediate and more problem-centered. adults encounter problems, learn how to solve those problems, and then immediately apply their knowledge to those problems. Number 5, motivation to learn. We learn as children because of external factors such as our parents and teachers. However, as adults, we want to learn for our own reasons such as career advancement or self-esteem. A child's motivation to learn is typically external. They are required to go to school and will encounter external and forced consequences if they don't. This changes as they mature into adults. 8 important characteristics of adult learners. Number 1, self-direction. Adults feel the need to take responsibility for their lives and decisions, and this is why it's important for them to have control over their learning. As a result, self-evaluation, a peer relationship with the instructor, multiple options, and initial yet subtle support are all required. Number 2, practical and result-oriented. Adult learners are usually practical, present theory, and need information that can be immediately applicable to their professional needs, and generally prefer practical knowledge that will improve their skills, facilitate their work, and boost their confidence. This is why it's critical to design a course that addresses their specific needs while also providing more practical content. Number 3, less open-minded. Maturity and profound life experiences usually lead to rigidity, which is the enemy of learning. Thus, instructional designers must provide the why behind the change, introduce new concepts that can be linked to previously established ones, and promote the need to explore. Number 4, slower learning yet more integrated knowledge. Aging does affect learning. Adults tend to learn less rapidly with age. However, the depth of learning tends to increase over time, taking knowledge and skills to previously unheard of personal levels. Number 5, use personal experience as a resource. Adults have lived longer, seen and done more, have the tendency to link their past experiences to anything new and validate new concepts based on prior learning. This is why it is critical to form a class with adults who have similar levels of life experience, to encourage discussion and sharing, and to generally create a learning community comprised of people who can profoundly interact. 6, motivation. Learning in adulthood is usually voluntary. Thus, it's a personal choice to attend school in order to improve job skills and achieve professional growth. This motivation is the driving force behind learning, which is why it's critical to tap into a learner's inherent impetus with thought-provoking material that will challenge conventional wisdom and stimulate his mind. Number 7, multi-level responsibilities. Adult learners have a lot to juggle: family, friends, work, and the need for personal quality time. This is why it's more difficult for an adult to make room for learning, while it's absolutely crucial to prioritize. If his life is already demanding, then the learning outcome will be compromised. Keeping this in mind, an instructional designer must create a flexible program that can accommodate busy schedules and accept that personal obligations may obstruct the learning process. Number 8, high expectations. Adult learners have high expectations. They want to be taught about things that will be useful to their work, expect to have immediate results, seek for a course that will worth their while and not be a waste of their time or money. This is why it is critical to design a course that will maximize their advantages, meet their individual needs, and address all of their learning challenges. According to Knowles, adult education should always produce at least 7 outcomes. Outcome number 1, a mature understanding of oneself. Adult education can help adults understand themselves more clearly and objectively. They learn to understand their motivations, needs, interests, goals, capacities. Adults should develop self-esteem and a desire to continue growing as they gain self-awareness. Outcome number 2, acceptance, respect, and love toward others. Along with increasing self-esteem and love, andragogy should lead adults to accept, respect, and love others. A keen understanding of the distinction between people and ideas is required. This comprehension will empower adults to think critically about ideas without attacking or threatening those who hold them. Outcome number 3, a fluid and dynamic attitude toward life. Every experience provides adults with a new opportunity to learn. Furthermore, people are constantly changing, which adults must learn to accept and even embrace. When taken together, this means that adult education should foster a dynamic, even passionate attitude toward life, pushing people to view every new experience as an opportunity to learn. Outcome number 4, understanding and reacting to causes, not symptoms. When a problem arises, people usually react to the symptoms. This should be changed by proper andragogy. Adults should be able to see beneath the surface of a problem, rather than just its symptoms. They can respond appropriately once they understand the root causes. Outcome number 5, understanding human experience. Everyone has a tendency toward recency bias. In other words, people tend to believe that modern equals better and ignore the past. Andragogy induces a shift in perspective. It teaches people to understand, appreciate, and share the ideas, experience, tradition of the past rather than dismissing the past as irrelevant. It emphasizes its significance. Outcome number 6, understanding of and ability to change society. Adults must be able to understand their society and effective change in order to live in a democracy. As a result, proper adult education educates people about the social order and how it is formed.